Hello, everybody. This is Love from Above by your sibling spirit guides. I'm Maureen, and this is my brother.
Hey, Maureen. Hey, everyone. This is Brian.
Hello, everybody. We're so happy to be here. On this podcast, if you can believe it, we share daily channelings we receive from star beings, ascended masters, mythical beings who really exist, and occasionally our ancestors. And today's topic, gosh, this is an important one. We hear from the angels, the watchers, the Pleiadian brothers and sisters, who all talk about the same important message. Love starts with you. Brian, I mean, come on, what's more important than love?
No, nothing. That's it. Yeah, it's right. Love and fear, and we don't anything to do with fear, right? So,
Right.
um, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, so you want to kick us off from the first message, which is from August 26th. So what we do is we compile some of these daily channelings that we receive on a similar topic. And this first message is from the beings we probably hear from the most, the watchers, from August 26, 2024, on portals on Earth and self-love.
Right. And so they start, hello, we are always here as your time is elastic. Now, let me just pause there. Just the plug for next week is on the illusion of time. So that's very appropriate. But anyway, as as you have required our presence, we come forth now. Bring others through to watch over the brother-sister pair. You may deem this an unusual experience. However, the portals that connect the earth to other realms have widened in recent days, and many more travelers are visiting these wondrous lands. For there is much to accomplish on the blue planet, renowned for its beauty. We are the watchers tasked with watching humanity grow and ascend throughout its various stages of existence. We come forth now as one body. There are others to speak. We speak, of course, of the Pleiadian brothers and sisters who come forth now. Hello, we utilize this channel. We turn now to the subject of mathematics. Maureen, how many times have we talked about mathematics? There is so much to gain from the numbers that form the basis for reality. Think of your beginning from a cell that divided and divided again. Is this not an example of the wondrous capabilities of mathematical principles? We say yes. In the same way, we can say that love combines with mathematical properties that humans are yet unaware of. The formulaic device to augment the love within the heart is to know that it expands on a multiplier. It expands with a predictability related to your multiplication tables. 2 times 2 always equals 4. In a similar way, the love that spawns is generated from your being and increases with a numeric capacity. Once a new threshold is attained, a new general sense of well-being is achieved. The greatest love is, of course, the love for oneself. If you are the holder of the divine light, how can you service others if your light is diminished? It's impossible. The Creator wants you to augment and ignite your own flame before reaching out to assist others. Once this flame is fully nourishing your vibratory system, then it is the time to reach out and spread the love that is achieved over many lifetimes. Too often, we watch humans spread the light of the one Creator until their wealth is dried out. There's nothing to give. They give in hopes of augmenting their physical frame. However, the body is like an energetic plant. It requires fuel to be furnished. The fuel is the love for oneself. This may seem selfish and contradictory, but it is indeed not. Like a child who learns before they can teach, the same is true for the human's capacity to love. the human must learn to love themselves before they can love others. Somehow this equation has been flipped with often hurtful results. So, yeah, I think we've talked about this before. It is, I know some people think it's selfish, but it's sort of like, I think we mentioned this before, that analogy of like when you're on a plane, they say you put on your oxygen mask before assisting,
Right.
your children or something, but you have to take care of yourself or you really can't help others. But the only other thing I was going to think of is that the mathematicians got to get this formula for the love multiplier, because I don't think most mathematicians are aware of, or I'm sure it says they're not. So I think that's sort of fascinating that there's this thing that a formula that relates to love multiplying.
Can you imagine a PhD candidate going forward and
I
being like,
know.
yes, I would
That's
like
what I was thinking.
my thesis is going to be on the formula for love, which, come on, what is more important than that? But yeah, that would be soundly, turned down,
Right.
and you would be asked to check your mental health facility.
Yeah.
But yeah, what is more important? Come on. I mean, love is what moves mystics, poets, each of us are in our individual lives. And what I think about, brother, is I think about like all of the avatars who have served humanity, and the whole history of this planet. And, whether it be Jesus Christ or Buddha or whatever, it's like they have first, in their stories, they have first, gone within and, mastered the inner self. And then they're able to reach out and help others. It's And yeah, the student must learn before they can go teach. And the same is with love. Before you've got to fill yourself up with love, and before you can reach out and assist others.
Absolutely.
Brian, I'm looking in the selfie in a whole new way now.
No,
Uh,
remember we've been told the selfie is not to be used.
I know, I'm joking, but yeah, I'm joking, but yeah, self-love, self-adoration, filling yourself up. I can totally understand that message. So I'll go on the next one from the angels. Who does not want to hear from the angels? And they declare that self-love is the highest form of love, which is honestly kind of surprising. But anyway, this is from July 9th, 2024. They say, we are the light beings who encase your planet with our generosity of spirit. You may know us as angels. We are not unlike you. We have traversed far in our spiritual progress, allowing us to grow more in the direction of the one, the all, the mighty who creates all that is. We move backward into time. Brian, we're going to talk about our podcast next week again.
Yeah.
We move backward into time to speak with you and your brother. Isn't that interesting? I don't even know how that's possible. But anyway, now is a blessing season, for there are many who wish to converse through you. Our lesson today is with regard to self-love. Others may view this practice as selfish. However, there is no greater love, for this is where the holy and divine reside. The expansion of your holy divine portion of your soul allows others to receive greater portions of love. This is the answer the mystics realized long ago. Those who retreated into silent monasteries or solitary caves came upon the knowledge that the greatest treasure, the greatest wealth, is within. Once this treasure is accessed, then it may be dutifully shared with the world. Then a responsibility comes forward to share this important prospect. Until then, it is wise to focus on expanding the love and light within. Maureen and Brian, you are at the turning point where you will soon be able to extend the love and light within. Never fear that this light can be diminished, for it always burns bright. We recede now. So that does make sense. I mean, if self-love is where the holy and divine reside, then that is the most important. And we just did a recent podcast where it's not one single flame. You've got a candelabra there.
Yeah.
So that does make sense. Your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, it's interesting. So but and your point about the time, that I know we're going to talk about that next week, but yeah, it is hard for me to grasp too, how to back in time. And they talk about, oh yeah, it's time, we'll get into the next week, but yeah, it's hard to comprehend since we all think of time as such a linear fashion. I guess
Right.
it's not, it's not. But
And wouldn't you love to go back in time and change some things or,
well, yeah, and then they say you can see the time backwards, the future and the present all at once, and then like that's got to be wow. And it's I just can't comprehend that. But anyway, but yeah, about the everything else though, extend the love and like within. And so this was almost 2 years ago, and they talked about we're at a turning point. We'll soon be able to extend the love and light within. So we should be there now, Maureen, right? We should, and I think we are, but that's one other thing that came to mind on this.
yeah, and we're constantly getting upgrades too, which we're so grateful for. I mean, they're constantly
Yeah.
working on us. And we just got one this week. We were just talking before the podcast began about where somehow 7 rings are now encircling us, which somehow are like a signal to other beings to assist us. Brian, am I right in that? It's
I can't
sometimes we,
remember, or so we can assist others. I can't remember, but yeah, I know it's some other, you know,
yeah.
thing that we've been lucky to. I'm sure there's others and stuff, but anyway, I don't know that much about it, but it's something else. Like you said, we're just grateful for all the assistance and all the whatever upgrades or whatever is going on.
And I just want to remind everybody who's listening, it's not just Brian and I, everybody, there's no exceptions. You
And
have.
then you just have to ask for it too, right? That's we would
And
say,
even if you don't ask for it, let me tell you, you got a posse there. But yeah, Brian and I, we call on a whole, oh, Brian, we got a great new prayer. We'll have to put that in a new podcast. We got a great new prayer to recite every day. That's a really powerful one. But yeah, I mean, that's part of our practice is, we call on our grandparents and the watchers and, all the archangels and it certainly augments our days, right, Brian?
right, absolutely.
Yeah. So, do you want to go on with the next one, which is from February 27th, 2026?
Yep. So this is exploring the hidden depths of the interior self. Darling child of the light, the eternal presence of the one requires a greater subsumation of the interior self. We provide an example. Only you know the true realms of the ultimate desires of your interior world. Just like a closet may be packed with clothes you haven't worn in ages, your wedding dress, your tuxedo, your Halloween costumes, your Christmas sweater. No one knows the exact contents of your wardrobe. May you possess so many clothes that even you are unaware of everything inside your closet. This is the truth of the ulterior self. No one but yourself can evaluate what is within, and even you may not know the depths of your treasures inside. Have you forgotten your grandmother's veil stored away in a box in the corner? Have you forgotten a gift you didn't like and stuffed in a box somewhere? The same is true for your ulterior self. We remind you of the human's limited capacity to examine their self reflection. Your mirrors provide only one angular repose, which is hardly reflective of your entire nature. Let us look at yourself from a cellular perspective, which is how humans examine their rightful selves. You are not your body. You inhabit much more space than is presently encompassed by your subtle frame. You feel these energies. I feel good. I feel happy. I feel sad. These emotions are within you. However, you cannot see them just as you cannot see the bonds of love you hold dear. The treasures within are easily mined by your loved ones. They may recognize the true gifts you are aware of but cannot see. It is wise to consult with them to assess the fullness of your physical frame. So that's interesting. So I'm focused on the last part about how, you're not really, we have limited capacity to examine and through self-reflection, and it's saying to wise to consult, others in your life to help you assess the fullness of your physical frame. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, and we actually talked about that in a recent podcast too, to consult with those that you love, whether it be a spouse or a child, or because, often you can't see, your greatest gifts, or we're taught so much to be humble. And yeah, and but the one that sticks with me is I love this analogy of your interior self, of
The
your
closet? Yeah.
because, Brian, I know you so well. Jeez, I would go into your closet. I would have no idea what's there. You know what I mean? And and it is true. Like there's so many books that we've read that say this, like all these beings around that are here to help us. But we've got to do the work ourselves. You know what I mean? We've got to be the one to go in the closet and be like, "Oh, what's here?" And we can ask our loved ones for assistance too and to help us guide us, but we've got to do the work. You can't get away from you know, you can't
Yeah.
get away from doing. I wish you could. I wish you could. I wish you could call Archangel Michael or Thoth or Saint Germain and just be like, oh, I want to be on Easy Street. But no, you're here on the Earth School to do the work. And yeah, you got to go into the closet. But I love that analogy. Their analogies are brilliant, right?
Yeah, they are good. Well, so yeah, sometimes they come up with some strange ones that don't really hit, but usually they are really good. And so I was just reading something about channeling that's it's different for every person. They go in your mind and they see what analogy based on you. So if there's someone else that's channeling, it might be a different analogy because it's based on their life experience. Isn't that true?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times we just channeled before we started recording, and I so clearly got this vision that I was in the kitchen where in the house that Brian and I were raised in. And like I can just it's like I'm there, you know what I mean? And I was like a child. I was a child. There was a little nook. Do you remember our nook with
Yep.
our white table?
Right.
There was a nook with a white table and I'm there and it's it's visceral, it's visceral. So it's not only like seeing something like when you're watching something on TV, you're seeing it, but it's like it's engaging the senses. It's like I'm actually there, which is again, we're talking about going back in time. Like it's like you know, and I'm not Maureen of this age. I'm like 7-year-old Maureen with a glass of milk in front of me. So it is amazing. And so many people now are channeling. Like it seems to be a birthplace of channeling, right? I mean, we never expected to be channeling, but there's a lot of people out there, I'm sure, who never expected to be channeling too.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. So now we're going to go on to the last one, which is from our good friends, the Watchers. Yeah, I was telling Brian, I just recently watched, who knows who the Watchers are, but they apparently are been tasked with from the one creator to watch all of us through space and time, through the entirety of existence. But this documentary, I don't know if this is accurate, but this says that the Watchers were the Anunkai. Brian, what do you think about that?
And I can't remember about the nun guide now. So you
The
have to,
Anunkai were the star beings who came to this planet, and they are like Enki, Anu, and Lil, and they were the ones who created humans. And they're also why, if you look at the history of time, I don't know if any of our listeners have ever studied history, like all of a sudden in Mesopotamia, like thousands of years ago, you went from like, no society, no buildings, no agriculture, nothing. And like all of a sudden there's irrigation canals and there's writing and there's, ziggurats and it's because of the Anunkai, the Anunkai coming here. So I don't know if that's true, but I don't know. I just put that out there. But anyway, so this is from January 5th, 2026. We continue to praise those who augment their life forces with the reflective poses of the mirror. To acknowledge the glory of yourself within your own reflection is a positive occurrence. We encourage these daily refrains and admire these brave souls who can engage in these practices. Okay, I'm just going to pause right there. I think what they're talking about is, if you know Louise Hay and her power of affirmations, and I do listen to Louise Hay every day, but I don't do this, Brian. She says the most powerful way to say an affirmation is actually look yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. I am open to receive. I am, abundant manifested in this life. I am, in perfect health. Have you ever tried that, Brian?
No, no, I'm sure that's powerful. And this sounds all right. I'm not making fun of this at all, but that what does come to mind is probably not appropriate, but it's
The Saturday Night Live?
very like Stuart Smalley is what comes to mind. So I'm sure that's not what they meant there, but what Louise Hayes meant. But anyway, that's what comes to
I'm glad you said it because that's what I think too. But great minds think alike, brother. But that's exactly what I thought. But she does say that. I don't know. I mean, maybe I do listen to her affirmations in the morning. Oh, Brian, I found this great affirmation where it gives on YouTube where, it gives you a space so you can repeat it with, she says it and then you repeat it with her. Oh, so I'll have to try that tomorrow and look in the mirror. So then they go on to say, we are here to remind humans of their ultimate selves, for they are the glory and the wonder of God in united action. Okay, think about the people. You are the glory and the wonder of God in united action. Just as you would ooh and ah at a rare animal or gem on display, we indeed wonder at the unique facets of your ultimate creation. We speak as one as we have harmonized our individual selves to work together as a unified whole. This is a most agreeable solution to the friction that provides concerns, worries, and fears on earth. We admire those who enter the peaceful slumber state and acknowledge their own worthiness. For what is greater than your own eternal reflection? This place of eternal admiration sets the tone for the energy that flows through the energetic self. We thank thee for your ultimate praise, and we continually abide by what rules this tiny planet. We will come again. When called, we are known as the Watchers. So yeah, what do you think about this wonderful channeling? My favorite sentence is we speak as one as we have harmonized our individual states to work together as a unified whole. Imagine that, Brian.
Oh, they talk about higher dimensions like that. It's like we get, there's other channel beings that it's like, and I think aura is like this. It's a group of beings, but they speak as one because they're all telepathic and it's things like that. But yeah, that's the higher dimensions are like that. But yeah, what's not to like about this? That remind humans of their ultimate selves, and you know, th this goes back to a lot of what we believe in as opposed to some other organized religion that God is within all of us, and so it speaks to how the great strength of that, really.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you all for listening. And boy, next week, tune in, The Illusion of Time. Brian, this is a fascinating one.
Yeah, look forward to it. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk next week. Bye.